What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Devin, and I hope that you will consider sticking around and subscribing. And if you're not new, as always, welcome back. You know I love you. So today's video, we are going to be focusing on complexion. So if you're wondering about this eye look and like this lip color and everything like that, I do already have a video posted because that video is going up before this one on my channel. So I will link it down below and put a card up here so that you can easily find the tutorial on this eye look. But today we're going to be focusing on complexion. So lately I have really been not straying away from my go-to products to do my base. Everything is pretty much the same every time I sit down to do my makeup in terms of complexion, with like a couple things here and there that might switch out depending on the occasion or depending on what I'm doing my makeup for. But I really wanted to film a video just kind of on my go-to glowy complexion routine, especially now going into the warmer spring and summer months. I think this is a really great complexion routine for all of the fun things that happen during those seasons. And everything is really affordable as well. So this is also a very affordable complexion routine. So it just goes to show you that you really don't have to spend a lot of money to get a flawless face, or as close to flawless as possible. So if you are interested in seeing all of the products and techniques that I use to achieve this complexion that I have on my face right now, come along for the ride and let's get right into the video. All right, hey guys. So the first product that I actually want to talk about is already on my face, and it has been a recent favorite skincare makeup hybrid product for me, and it has become kind of a go-to secret weapon lately. So it is this product right here. It is from Pore Beauty, and it's called the Thirst Aid Hydrating Priming Moisturizer. So it says you can apply evenly over clean skin, follow with your normal makeup routine, or wear alone to hydrate skin. I kind of bought this on a whim as I was like buying some other stuff from Pore to try out. I recently have been trying some Pore skincare products. Some have definitely been hits and some have definitely been misses as well. This one, again, was just something that I bought because it sounded interesting, and I absolutely love it. So on days that I'm doing this as my makeup, I will use this as my morning moisturizer, and I don't need a primer to do my makeup with. If you've watched any of my videos before, you probably at some point have heard me talking about how I need a juicy, like hydrating, kind of tacky, like not super sticky, but definitely like a sticky, tacky base from my primers. I don't like silicone. I don't like when they feel dry. I have a very specific thing that I look for in my face primers, and this gives that to me. So again, it's not sticky, but it does leave my skin with a little bit of tackiness when I'm done doing my skincare, so that when I go and do my makeup, I don't feel like I need to use a primer on top of it. I feel like I'm good to go. So I already did my skincare to prep for filming, so I am not going to apply this on camera, but I did want to make sure I mention this because this really has become a staple in my routine in the past month or two, and I really, really love it. And it's affordable, and it's cruelty-free and vegan because it's from Pore Beauty. So that's that. Love it. Definitely worth giving this a try if you have a similar taste in moisturizers and primers as I do. Okay, that being said, I do go in with a pore filling primer after that. So I guess technically I use that moisturizer in place of a gripping primer to like hold my makeup on. I do still go in with the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer just in my nose area, really, to fill in the large pores that I have in that area. So I just get a little bit on my nail here, and I rub this right in the center of my face where I feel like my pores are gigantic. Even a primer like this, I won't put this all over my face because again, it's just not juicy and tacky enough for me. But for this specific purpose, I really do like it to fill in my pores. And if there's any step when I'm in a rush that I skip, this would probably be one of them, just because like at the end of the day, everybody has pores, and if I just need some quick makeup, like it's not the end of the world. But if I have a little extra time to do the full routine, I definitely don't want to miss this step just because I hate my pores. And that's just that. Okay, so this next step is completely optional, but again, if you're a little extra like me and you really just love that extra dew, that extra glow, This is a favorite of mine. It's the Fourth Ray Beauty Glisten Up Illuminating Mist. It smells super fresh. It smells like summer oranges. I absolutely love it. And it's got a little bit of pearlescent little pieces in here that just give a nice glow to the skin. So if you're feeling extra, you can just give your skin a little spritz, and then we're finally prepped for makeup. This is also a step that, again, if I'm in a rush or if I forget, this is one of those steps that isn't completely necessary, but I want to give you guys the full routine in this video so that you can decide kind of what works for you and what doesn't. So now we are ready for foundation, or in this case, tinted moisturizer. So I am definitely late to the game with this product, but I have been using it a ton in the past couple of months, and I have to say the hype that this got when it first came out is totally warranted. I don't know what I got all over these. I don't know how I got makeup all over them like this, but they're kind of a mess. But this is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. I have two shades. I typically always have two shades in my complexion products, a light and a tan. So this is the shade Light 5N. It's decently close to my natural skin tone, maybe a little bit lighter. And then this is the shade Medium 11N. So typically what I do is I just mix the two of them on the back of my hand depending on how tan I am. And I do use probably like three pumps of each, just because I kind of like to use a lot because it is more of a sheer coverage. So I just mix them in the back of my hand here. I do have a self tan on right now, and I was at the beach yesterday, so I did get like a little bit of sun, but the tan that I use honestly is not super dark, so I think it should be fine. I also think that the tan that I have on right now, it's the Ashley Graham and Saint Tropez collab. It's a little bit more golden, and these moisturizers are a little bit more neutral toned, but because it's a tinted moisturizer, you can't really tell. It just kind of evens everything out. But just keep that in mind. If you have a slightly warmer undertone to your skin naturally, or if you're like me and you self-tan a lot and you're using a tan that has more of a warm or olive base, you want to make sure you match your complexion products to that undertone. For me, I naturally have a little bit more of a neutral undertone. I have like yellow and pink. So I typically go for complexion products with a neutral undertone and then kind of finesse them as needed. So I just used a beauty sponge for this. A beauty sponge is typically going to help you sheer out your complexion products more. If you were to use a foundation brush or something like this, you could probably build this up to be a little bit more, to have a little bit more coverage. I personally prefer a little bit more coverage, but I also on myself prefer a beauty sponge to a foundation brush. So I'm looking in the viewfinder here, and I think you can probably tell on camera it's not super high coverage, and it does have a nice glowy finish. Like I can definitely still kind of see like some acne scars here and some redness through the coverage, but I also feel like it's a nice base. I'm a lot more even without it looking too heavy. So especially if you're somebody that doesn't have, like if you're somebody that has even less like skin imperfections, so to say, than me, I think this will look really nice on you. But I also do think that if you're like me and you want a little bit more coverage and you have some more spots to cover up, I do feel like this is a buildable formula. So I'm just getting a little bit more on the back of my hand. I always just like to go over the spots where I have a little bit more redness. And then coming up in the next step, we will also spot conceal. So I'm not gonna leave you high and dry without any coverage. Okay, moving on to concealer now with my favorite concealer to ever exist. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I have the shade Light Sand and then the shade Medium Neutral. So first I'm gonna take this deeper shade, Medium Neutral, and I'm gonna use this to spot conceal the little places where I don't wanna brighten, but I just want a little bit more coverage. So I've had this little like constellation of pimples and acne scars here on my face for the past couple weeks, so that's really fun. So I always go there. I like to go around my nose for a little extra coverage to cover up some redness. A lot of times on my chin I get little breakouts down here. Right now there's kind of a whole cluster of them, so whatever. We're not perfect here, but the point of this is just to add a little bit more coverage where you want it and or need it without having to like do multiple layers of foundation on your whole face, if that makes sense. So you want to use a concealer that matches your foundation as opposed to being a little bit lighter for this step, so you can spot conceal, and then we'll use a lighter concealer to brighten under the eyes and everything. And even though this shade is called medium neutral, I do feel like it pulls a little bit warm. So hopefully you can tell now my little spots are covered up a little bit better than they were a second ago with just the tinted moisturizer. But again, nothing looks heavy on my face. We're just evening things out. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into my lighter concealer. This is the shade Light Sand, again in that e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Concealer. And this is what I'm gonna use to brighten up the under eyes. So I don't do anything fancy with this. I'm not really a TikTok trend kind of girl. I've seen people doing all kinds of crazy things with their concealer lately, and I'm like, this is how I know I'm getting older, because I look at what the kids are doing these days and I'm like, yeah, not my thing. So I'm just gonna brighten my under eyes the old school way, and I am gonna take a little tiny bit of this in the center of my forehead and on my chin as well. And I'm just gonna use the sponge to blend this out. And this also kind of helps, like, as you can see, I have my eyeshadow done. If I've blended a little too far out or whatever, this helps me kind of clean up the edge of my eyeshadow as well without doing a sharp edge. If I want a sharp edge, I'll do it with a makeup wipe, but I want this look to be just very bronzy and soft and smoldering and smoky, so I'm kind of leaving it with a nice soft edge there so that I can connect it underneath. So that's our concealer. So hopefully you guys can see how we're kind of building the look and building the coverage without kind of going crazy and being super heavy-handed. Okay, so next I'll go in with a cream bronzer. So this is the Soul Body Cream, no, what is this? This is the Soul Body Face and Body Bronzing Balm in the shade Medium. This is another thing that I am obsessed with. I was late to the game when this first came out. Everybody was hype on it. I tried it and I was like, wow, I really understand the hype. So again, this is the shade Medium, and as you can see, it's very warm. This is not a contour product. This is definitely a true cream bronzer. If you want more of that bronzer effect, you're gonna want a bronzer that's a lot cooler toned than this. e.l.f. has some great ones. I think Anastasia has some too, but this I treat as a true bronzer, so this is just to warm up the complexion. So I get this on my little brush here. This is from e.l.f. Well, it's not a little brush, it's definitely a big brush. This is from e.l.f. I got this a while ago, so if it's still available, I'll definitely link it. So again, this is a bronzer, so you're just gonna place this where you would normally bronze. So I kind of follow it right here on my cheekbone. So just to tell you the difference, a cream contour would be a little bit more precise here, kind of hugging the underside of the cheekbone. This bronzer I'm doing kind of right on top of the cheekbone and even up a little bit higher, almost like a blush. Because again, we're just truly warming up the complexion here. We're not trying to contour anything. Okay, so you guys can see, super quick and easy, probably in less than 30 seconds in real time, we are bronzed. Okay, so now we've applied all of our cream products. I don't really do a cream highlighter or a cream blush at this point in my life. So this is where I'm done with my cream products and I start moving into powder. So I'm gonna take the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder in the shade Translucent, or I'm sorry, this is the shade Light, to set everything down. This is definitely like a go-to setting powder for me. It's probably my favorite from the drugstore, but that being said, I haven't tried many others recently, so I'll have to putz around and see what I can find. So before I set, I just take a look in the mirror and try to make sure that I've got my creases underneath my eyes blended out as much as we possibly can. And then to set my under eyes, I just take my beauty blender and dip it right into the powder that I poured into the cap, like so. And I come in here and lightly tap this. I try to really focus this under my eyes, and then I'll also just kind of drag the excess powder on my sponge across my nose, because my nose is definitely where I get the most oily. And then after that, I'll just immediately grab a nice big fluffy brush and I'll kind of swirl it in the, ooh, there we go. And I'll kind of swirl it in the cap here. And I just take this guy, tap it around the rest of my face to make sure everything else is set. And then to sweep away the under eye, I'll just grab a smaller brush so I can concentrate this in that area. It's kind of hard to get underneath your eyes with a big fluffy powder brush like the one I was just using, so I just grab a smaller brush and dust that away. We're not really doing a heavy bake or anything like that. We just want to make sure everything is nice and set because this is a glowy look, but we don't want it to slide around everywhere. So powder is still important. I can never live without powder. So next I'm gonna go in with powder bronzer, and this is your chance to contour slash bronzer if you want to. This would be the step that you would do that. So this is, again, another one of my favorites. It's from Milani. It is their Silky Matte Bronzer in the shade Suntan. If I show these side by side, hopefully you can see how much warmer, like this almost has kind of like an orange, not orange in a bad way, but this definitely is more of an orangey bronzer. And this guy is definitely more of a cool toned bronzer. So if you want to use a bronzer for a contour, you want something with an undertone like this and something that's a lot less warm. So because I like to just do a little bit more definition under my cheekbones once I've bronzed, I'm going to take a complexion brush that's kind of tapered and pointed like this. And I'm going to get some of my powder bronzer on that. And I'm going to start at the back and just work this in right along the bottom of my cheekbone, really hugging that area. And all this does is it just gives you, like when you turn your head to the side, it just gives you that little bit more of a like snatch. It gives your face just like a little bit more structure and definition without going too overboard. Like I don't even want to bring this too far up here. I just want to kind of concentrate it here in this little area. Okay. So contour, no contour. Hopefully you can see the difference. It's just that little extra bit of shadow underneath your cheekbone for a little extra slice, you know what I'm saying? All right, last little bronzer step. Again, extra, but I love it. So if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. So I have this highlighter. This was a limited edition highlighter, so it doesn't exist anymore, but you can find a shade like this. This is a highlighter that I bought and didn't realize that it would be too dark and bronzy to use as a highlighter for my skin. It's from the Dose of Colors Desi Katie Friendcation collection from a couple years ago. So if you're familiar, that's what this is. But if you just get a highlighter that is a little, that has kind of like a bronzy undertone like this and is a little too deep for your skin tone, you can use it as a bronzer topper. So I get it on a nice fluffy brush like this, and I just run it really quickly over top of the places where I put my bronzer. So here on my temples, and then right here along my cheekbone. And it just gives a nice little sheen, a nice little extra glow as you turn your head, especially for spring and summer. I just feel like this is such a beautiful thing to add to your complexion routine. And especially on your cheekbones here, it also starts to provide a nice base for your highlighter to make your highlight pop just even a little bit more. That's just like a quick little step that I throw in here as a little something extra because I'm extra. All right, my friends, so all we have left is highlighter and blush, and we're done. So grab whatever highlighter you want, whatever your favorite is. I have lots of favorites, but this is one of them. So this is the Milani Baked Highlighter in the shade Champagne Doro. It's a little too dark for me when I'm fair, but when I have a tan, it's such a perfect highlight. So I'm gonna apply that to my cheekbones here. All right, and then to finish up the face, we have blush. So I love these little bite-sized blush duos from e.l.f. This one is in the shade Spiced Apple. It's a nice kind of warm, peachy undertone. Perfect for a bronzy look, perfect for summer, perfect if you have warmer undertones to your skin. I love it. So there's a matte shade and a shimmer here. Because I love the glow, I will just take my brush and kind of go between both of them. This will give you a nice pigmented color. This will give you a nice sheen over top of the blush. If you don't like shimmer in your blush, just use the matte shade, that's fine. And then I just apply this to the high points of my cheekbone here. Being careful not to bring it in too far, but I really want to just build up that nice, beautiful color on the cheeks. So I know we use a lot of bronzer, but there's just something about blush for me. Like I can't, it's not a complete complexion until there's blush. All right, and then to finish up the look, I'm gonna go ahead and spray my face with the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Setting Mist. I really love this. I don't have too much to say about it. It's just a great hydrating, dewy setting mist. I don't feel like it makes my skin oily or anything like that, but it does kind of help absorb any excess powder, and it gives me a nice fresh look to the skin. So I advise doing that before you do your mascara, especially if your mascara is not waterproof, because it'll just prevent anything from running. So I like to spray my setting spray if I remember before I do eyeliner or mascara or lashes or anything like that, because it just prevents you from having any potential mishaps with your makeup running. All right, you guys, so those are all of my complexion steps. I feel like that has been my go-to routine lately, whether I'm doing full glam or everyday makeup. A lot of times, all that I will do is just that complexion routine, brows, mascara, and a lip oil or lip gloss or whatever. That's kind of just my like go-to, put a nail in it and go type of look. Obviously, I still need to do my brows and finish up my eyes with this look, but I think you get the idea, right? So yeah, I love this. I think my skin looks glowy, it looks fresh, it's not too heavy, it feels great on the skin. All of these products are super affordable. I mean, besides this bronzer topper that I like bought on sale, full price, this probably wasn't super affordable, but I didn't pay full price for it. But all of this stuff is pretty much like Drugstore and ColourPop, which is basically Drugstore. So yeah, it just goes to show you don't have to spend a fortune to get a really nice complexion or really nice makeup in general anymore. You know, I like to be bougie sometimes, but for the most part, I really feel like I can find what I need in the affordable makeup range and be really happy with the way that my makeup looks. So if you're looking for an updated glowy skin routine for the spring and summer months coming up, I hope this was helpful. Definitely let me know your favorite products for the spring and summer down below. I would love to see what you guys recommend. If you're interested in what this eye look looks like when it's finished, because I'm gonna go finish it right now, I will link that video down below as well so that you can get a nice bronzy eye to go with your glowy summer face. If you have made it this far in the video and you have not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so down below. You can also follow me on Instagram. I am at DevDevGregs over there. And with that, I will catch you in my next one. Mwah. Love you. Bye.